Hello, everybody. We are here on Wrestling Observer Live, Monday, November 24th. You are joined by the sultry tones of one filthy Tom Lawlor, and we are here every Monday through Friday at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern with my boy Andrew Zarian. And then Saturday mornings with Mr. Jim Valley from 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. As always, do I need to say it? We have tons of news to get into here today on the show. A packed past weekend of wrestling ahead of another packed weekend of wrestling upcoming. On the show today, we will have AEW Full Gear results from the pay-per-view presented, of course, and don't you forget it, by DC Comics. This show was a continuation of sorts of blood and guts, as there were both blood and guts aplenty, along with some surprise turns, new champions up and down the card, and we will talk about that later on, along with all the other top-notch wrestling action across a variety of flavors that were presented on the show. We will have full Smackdown results from Friday night in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. Of course, this upcoming weekend is the Survivor Series pay-per-view from Petco Park in San Diego, California. Tonight, we have WWE Raw from Oklahoma City. And, of course, Survivor Series this weekend, as I mentioned. Brian Alvarez and I were on assignment this past Saturday night at Relentless Wrestling in Spokane, Washington, so we could talk about that, along with New Japan World Tag League results and standings. We will get into all of that and more after the break.
Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. What was up with this week? Everyone thinking Monday was Tuesday.
Well, that was just
Everyone?
you, sir.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it happened, it was like I got all these people that were messaging me going, my God, I thought it was Tuesday too today. It was like something happened with like the moon or something, and it caused everybody to think that Monday was Tuesday. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's like, God, am I losing it?
Yes.
Have you ever lost something and gave up all hope before finding it in an obvious place?
Yeah, my mind. I went to go make her the quesadilla, and I opened up the pantry, and there's no tortillas. I looked down on the ground, and there's the package that they used to be in, but there's no tortillas. So I call Hanale over, and she says, well, I didn't know how to close the bag.
Uh-oh.
So I put them all in a box of light bulbs. I said, why did you put them in a box with light bulbs? Swear to God, she goes, if that box is good enough for light bulbs, it's good enough for tortillas. And I said, no, that's not worse. I open the box, these tortillas are hard as a rock.
She is so your daughter.
Crumbling to dust.
It's insane.
God.
I lost my wallet at the Alamo Dome. The next day, I got a call from an usher that he found it. When I met up with him, everything was still in it. He refused to accept any money from me.
Wow.
Wow. I once lost my wallet in El Segundo.
Lantian says Big Dave's sanity.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he found it then. It's right there. It's never lost.
99% of the time, no matter where I park, I always know exactly where it is. But there's always that 1% of the time where is my car?
Dude.
And it's like in a bizarre place. Like, what was going on? All right, Granny, what do we got?
We need to buy you a machine that you speak into, and it converts your voice into text.
Oh, my God.
So you don't have to write it down anymore.
Absolutely not.
And then I think even better, we put that text into a text-to-voice app and have it read her.
Oh, my God.
Whatever. Stacy Keebler, her and Tori had a eggnog fight. Just a minute here.
Okay.
Looks at my page.
Then he
I
looks
decided
completely
to
depressed over there.
Take something from down below.
Mind your own business.
They're like,
Ray Kinsella builds a baseball field
Field
on
of
his
Dreams. Kevin Costner.
baseball.
James Earl Jones.
If you build it, they will come.
Iowa.
Oh, all right.
You didn't let me finish the question, Brian.
She's right.
Oh, she yells at me.
Filthy Tom Lawlor back here on Wrestling Observer Live. No Brian Alvarez, no Mike Sempervive, although they're both in my thoughts today as I go through all of the wrestling news and results from the past weekend, this upcoming week. Luckily, it's mostly wrestling related. Not too many scandals this week. Seems like most people are in good health, even after a ton of dangerous action over the past few weeks. So we can get into a little bit of the wrestling news, and then in the next couple of segments, I will give a full rundown of Smackdown from Friday, along with a full report of AEW Full Gear. Of course, tonight, the big show on Mondays, ever since the mid to early 90s, Monday Night Raw. Coming to us from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So they will be there live tonight. I believe Smackdown was taped last Friday, and then Saturday will be the pay-per-view from San Diego, California. Of course, this week we have the Thanksgiving week schedule, so I believe this show will be off on possibly Thursday and Friday. Is that correct, Dom?
For sure Thursday. I don't know what Brian's planning for Friday.
Well, no one knows what Brian's planning ever. So we'll be here, not Thursday, but probably the rest of the week. Anyways, tonight we have the Raw show, and set to open the show will be Roman Reigns. Of course, last week from Madison Square Garden, both Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns were added to the upcoming War Games match this Saturday on their respective teams. Brock Lesnar coming out and joining Paul Heyman's Vision along with Drew McIntyre, as it will be Lesnar, McIntyre, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Big Bronson Reed, a man I have tangled with multiple times in the past, and Logan Paul, the Maverick. And they will take on the world champion Cody Rhodes, the other world champion CM Punk, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and the OTC, the original tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns will open the show. Brock Lesnar also set to appear. There will be a men's War Games advantage match. Not quite sure who will be involved. However, the winner will then get the advantage on Saturday for their team in the War Games cage. In the Last Time Is Now tournament, the quarterfinal match, I believe maybe we have brackets. At least we have quarterfinals set. We don't know if they will then face each other. However, tonight we have Gunther taking on Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes with a big win on Friday night to move on in the tournament. And Solo Sikoa will take on another man who had a big win on Friday night in the tournament. And that, of course, is Penta in the other quarterfinal match. Ahead of their upcoming contest on Saturday, Dominic Mysterio will present his comments. He will address his enemy and give his comments on the U.S. champion, John Cena. Or, I'm sorry, the Intercontinental champion. Gosh! What a bonehead I am. Can't keep these titles straight. John Cena, the Intercontinental champion, after defeating Dominic Mysterio 2 weeks ago in Boston to become a Grand Slam champion. And also, Becky Lynch will speak after losing the Women's Intercontinental Championship to Maxine Dupree last Monday in Madison Square Garden. Now, before we went to the break, I mentioned that Brian and I were on assignment this past weekend. We were in Spokane, Washington for the Relentless Monumental 2 show, which took place at the Northern Quest Casino in Airway Heights. Beautiful place, beautiful venue, great casino. Brian and I were only approached by about 3 or 4 meth heads inside. Despite the beautiful surroundings, maybe they need to pick up the security. Not quite sure what the deal was. But Brian and I had a great time watching a stacked show, really. I'll just mention a few matches that were on the show. It opened with Royce Isaacs, a man that I have great familiarity with, both teaming with, battling against, a former member of Team Filthy, one of my good friends, and he took on Cedric Alexander in the opener. And then in the main event, the night was capped off by TJP battling against one Nick Nemeth in a just fantastic match between some of the best pro wrestlers that you could see in today's day and age. Nick Nemeth and TJP, champions across many promotions, across decades. So it was a pleasure getting to watch those two battle it out. Brian and I were on commentary with one Will Largeman, who is the play-by-play man for Relentless Pro. But we also had an opportunity to interview not only the main eventer, the headliner of the show from Monumental 2, Nick Nemeth, but also a man whose story is, just beyond inspirational. Like, as someone who's coming off an injury, being able to interview, but more importantly, really just listen to this man, really put things in perspective and gave me a lot of clarity. And that man, of course, is Chris Bay, who suffered an injury 13 months ago. Many thought to be career ending. He was told that he had, I think, 10 to 25% chance to walk again in his life. And it's, I don't want to say miraculous to see him back up on his feet and moving around, because as we've seen, he's a tremendous athlete and has a great work ethic. But it really is awe-inspiring to talk to him, to see him moving around, to hear his story. And hopefully that'll be up soon on Figure4WrestlingOnline.com, WrestlingObserver.com. We did about 30 minutes interview with each guy, and I can't wait to go back and listen to it. So hopefully Brian does his job and uploads that stuff soon. Now, in following along in the world of wrestling news from across the Pacific, we'll go to New Japan Pro Wrestling and the World Tag League 2025. They're coming off night 3 in the tournament, and there is one team that sits atop all of the others in Block A, and that is Toru Yano and Oleg Boltin, as they defeated Satoshi Kojima and Taichi in the second round matchup here. So Yano and Boltin sit at 4 points. Taichi and Kojima, Goto and Yoshihashi, Desperado and Shuji Ishikawa, Yota Tsuji and Gabe Kidd, Shingo Takagi, Joel Maloney, Evil and Don Fale, all at 2 points, sitting with 1-1 records. Yano and Oleg Boltin at 2-0. And then Yujiro and Chase Owens, a big goose egg in the A block. And in the B block, they've only had one match so far for each team, but Shota Umino, Yuya Imura, Finley and Hiromu, which is a great team, Zack Sabre and Oiwa, and Monster Sauce, Lance Archer and Alex Zane, who are my sleeper pick to win this tournament, are all in the lead with one win at 2 points. Tanahashi and LP, El Phantasmo, are at 0. Yuto Ice and Oscar, the current IWGP World Tag Team Champions, also at 0 points. Great O'Khan and Callum Newman, and Ren Narita and Sonata also coming in with that big goose egg. We have a match or a show coming up tonight in the B block. And then we will move on in that tournament. Upcoming in the next segment, we will get into full Smackdown results from last Friday. After that, we can talk the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. And we will get to all of that after the break. Bomba Clot!
Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Let's do this unnecessary censorship.
Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just your ass.
That was terrible. Horrible. They weren't the Heart Foundation. They weren't the British Bulldogs, okay? They're two geeks. And this celebration these guys did.
Oh.
I mean, they're like, Sean, give me brother. Yeah.
A place like that?
You two dorks. That's what you did. Why are you so excited?
Because they're awesome.
Okay. That was better than the first one.
It picked up at the end there.
Yes.
Unnecessary censorship.
He beat him. And 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 he beat him. I'm sweating.
Time to stop.
And he beat him.
Was this edited?
And then he beat him. And he
I don't
beat
think
him.
so.
I actually wore that shirt. It just says he beat him. He beat him. He beat him all the way down. Like,
All the way down, you say?
I dropped her off at camp, and the camp counselor just looks at me. She goes, "He beat him and beat him." I was like, "Gag gift."
Brian, would you for me again this week? It's too hot to do much.
That's true. It is too hot to do much.
I guess I just better do it because it came up for me.
I'll wait.
It won't come up again. It's pretty short, so I'll just do it. Yeah. Now I gotta find it back.
Okay.
It isn't
Dale, I'm
coming
gonna
up.
kill you. How about you just it? Okay.
Ouch.
What else we got, Vinny? Not the granny licks her finger to turn the page. Lick that finger. There'll be
Page
an
2.
unnecessary censorship coming up. Lick that. Okay, let's see. Unnecessary censorship.
So Oro Ethan after the match and gets his ass just into the earth.
Vinny.
And Ethan is leaving, holding his all confident. And then Oro just comes back to life, and now he Ethan's ass.
Oro jumps him from behind.
Yep.
Then he his ass after cheap shotting the guy. Haha. That was interesting. That's quite unnecessary. Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe.
Filthy Tom Lawlor back here on Wrestling Observer Live. Let's get right into this Smackdown review from Friday night. Smackdown Live on USA from Denver, Colorado, the original home of the UFC, for those of you that forget, many years ago. 32 years ago, I believe. Something like that. 30, I don't know. I can't count. Anyways, after a bunch of the notable superstars on tonight's card were shown arriving, the new vision of Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, the Maverick, Logan Paul, and Paul Heyman went to the ring. They really didn't say a whole lot. Paul had the mic, Paul Heyman. He pretty much talked about how great Bronson Reed was, how awesome Braun Breaker was, how spectacular the Maverick Logan Paul was. Really not a whole lot of importance other than how dominant they will be at War Games, along with Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar. And this brought out the Usos. The Usos came down the entrance ramp. Paul Heyman threatened them with the numbers advantage in the ring for a brawl, but they said, look, we're not stupid. We didn't come here alone. And Cody's music hits. And as they looked back, awaiting the American Nightmare for backup, he was nowhere to be seen. And a camera crew ran towards Cody's tour bus, where we saw Drew McIntyre exiting the tour bus, having beaten the ever-living crap out of Cody. He beat him to a living death, battered him on, left him laying on the bus steps, and then the Usos and the medics arrived and tended to our fallen champion, Cody Rhodes. Did not look good for this man. We had JD McDonough be the unfortunate soul to answer this week's U.S. title open challenge. You know, I love me some hard-hitting wrestling. I love seeing two big chests bumping meat. I love it. But what I would not love is to get in there with Ilya Dragunov. Week after week, this man is battering his opponents, beating the snot out of them and each other. They did multiple spots in this match centered around Dragunov's torpedo headbutt, ramming into McDonough's oversized cranium. At one point, JD hit a fantastic moonsault for a near 2-count fall, but Dragunov fought on. He hit a torpedo Moscow, a power bomb, went immediately into the H-bomb and got the win. This was awesome. I say that every single week about Ilya Dragunov's matches. If there's ever been a professional wrestler who was made for me in today's day and age, this is the guy. I love watching him. It's like you're watching somebody fight in the context of pro wrestling. I would love to get Bret Hart's thoughts on Ilya Dragunov's work style. Hey, maybe Brian and I could interview him one day. That would be great. If so, I'll remember to ask him what he thinks about Ilya Dragunov beating the crap out of guys every week. But I love it. We then had a backstage segment where Alexa thanks Charlotte for coming to her aid on Monday during a beatdown at the hands of the Kabuki Warriors. Nia Jax and Last Legend. She also used this to lure Charlotte to a dressing room then, where Rhea and Io Sky awaited, so that Rhea and Charlotte could then have a conversation and squash their beef, which we will get to later on. Ahead of Bronson Reed taking on Carmelo Hayes, Nick Aldis was backstage talking to Jackie Redmond before he approached the Vision. He kind of threatened Paul Heyman, reminded them that they're not even supposed to be on this show. The only reason Bronson Reed is there is because he has a match tonight. This is Smackdown. This is not War Games, and this is his show to run. So we had Reed take on Carmelo Hayes. This match, I thought this match was damn good, even with the screwjob finish that they had. But Reed beat up Hayes as you'd expect, with the Vision getting involved, cheap and dirty tactics. Logan Paul distracted the ref, and Braun Breaker was going to spear Hayes through the boards, but the Usos cut him off with a super kick. They brawled with Logan Paul into the crowd, and as the ref was tending to Paul Heyman, Cody Rhodes made his triumphant return, made a miraculous recovery. This man is a fighter, so he recovers quicker than normal humans. He ran down through the crowd, posted Bronson Reed, hit him with a crossroads, and Carmelo Hayes, don't miss, He got the count out win, and he advances in the last time is now tournament, where tonight I predict Gunther will end his run and kill this guy on his way to facing John Cena in middle of December. Then we had Cody cut a great promo, probably the best promo I've seen him cut in months. He was fired up, said War Games is his birthright. The relationship between Heyman and Rhodes is that Heyman builds him and he will beat him. Cody was awesome here in this segment. Sami Zayn's team then did a traditional Survivor Series backstage interview ahead of their traditional Survivor Series style matchup against the MFTs this week on SmackDown. Fraxium took on DIY in an all-action match. Too much to recap. Just know that it was awesome if you're into seeing a lot of moves, seeing guys get laid out with spectacular spots, exactly what you'd expect from these two teams, with the added finish of Candice LeRae ripping off the mask of Axiom. I don't know why. He's from Spain. It's not like he should have some, like mystical tie to this mask of his, but Candice LeRae pulled his mask off and DIY got the pin. There was a pre-produced smoky backstage face-to-face with Charlotte and Rhea. Rhea said if someone asked her who she'd want to stand next to and go to war with, she'd say Charlotte Flair. Charlotte stood up and said, in the most snobby way possible, yes, you can. And then they shook hands. John Cena talked about freestyle rapping. Finn Balor then took on Penta in the Last Time Is Now tournament. Another awesome match. When you go back and look at this show, all of the action was phenomenal. This Balor versus Penta match, Fraxium versus DIY was great. Bronson Reed against Carmelo Hayes. JD McDonough against Ilya Dragunov, which was probably the best thing on this show. But that may really just depend on what style of wrestling you enjoy. I, of course, like seeing guys look like they're about to kill each other in the ring. With punches and strikes and throws. But of course, this Finn Balor versus Penta match was awesome, as you'd expect. In the Last Time Is Now tournament, Penta won kind of out of nowhere after he hit a Mexican destroyer. My guess is they were strapped for time at the end of the match, but what we saw before that was awesome, even if I feel like they were rushed. Regardless, I know that they've been feuding and battling and tags 3 ways over the past few months, but I wish we could have seen more of these two here tonight. Maybe we'll get more of them in the future. Penta takes on Solo Sikoa tonight, and without looking at the brackets, that one to me, that's a toss-up. Could go either way. I'll go with Penta. And the last segment of the evening there was a War Games segment for the upcoming women's match where the baby faces were going to announce their 5th member. So this segment itself was 8 minutes long. 4 of it was entrances. And then I'd say maybe 2 minutes of it was Rhea Ripley talking about how awesome Io Sky is while hugging Io Sky, talking about how happy she is to fight alongside Alexa and Charlotte as Alexa and Charlotte were embracing. And then they announced the 5th member of the team. And that, of course, was pretty much who everybody expected, especially after her reappearance last Monday night in Madison Square Garden as she took out or caused a distraction. And then Becky Lynch lost to Maxine Dupree. But the 5th member of the Women's War Games team on the babyface side, AJ Lee, who pranced down to the ring, and as she did so, was blindsided by the woman she cost the Intercontinental title on Monday. That was Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, the Kabuki Warriors, Nia and Lash, beat down all of the baby faces in the ring. And The show ended thanks to Paul Levesque and Lee Fitting, with Becky shaking hands with Asuka and the rest of the heel team. We will get into the big show of the weekend, the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view presented by DC, in the next segment after the break.
Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Okay, can everyone hear it?
Yeah.
There's a mystery bell at Granny's house. She can't hear it. Take off your headphones for a second.
I had them on wrong anyway.
Okay.
I can't get them on right. What?
Take them off and listen.
You have it in your elbow?
Is the fan on a computer?
Nothing.
All right. Well, this is going to be an exciting show.
Gonna have bells ringing through the whole thing, and it's every week. It's got to be me.
Do you have a neighbor that's an ice cream man
No,
practicing out there?
I got a neighbor that smokes marijuana.
I'm sure you do. I guess
Whatever that noise is, I mean, it's still going.
Yeah, it's not going to stop, dude.
Brian, do you want me to get off here and go see if open the door and see if there's anything out there?
You think something's out the front door?
Is he ringing the bell the entire time?
No, Granny, you don't
Let
need
me
to-
in! Let me
it's
in!
It's fine. It's fine.
If it's death, don't open the door.
Thank you, Craig. This person thinks it's a stove timer.
Have you burned the roast?
No, I don't have a stove. You want me to just get off here?
No. We're going to barrel through it.
I'd love it.
You're not even doing anything. Granny, Nick says that you've got an old-fashioned analog alarm clock in Terry's bedroom.
I don't know. I got a new alarm clock, battery operated. Is that what she meant?
Well, whatever it is, it's going haywire right now.
Oh, it might be my alarm,
Do you think?
but it's way back in the bedroom.
Don't worry about it right now. But when the show's over, you might want to go...
That's what it is.
Okay.
Solve the mystery.
Is there a reason you didn't turn it off when it started ringing?
Well, I wasn't in there. I didn't.
Duh.
I took a nap. I took a nap and set the alarm. I thought I shut it off, but I probably didn't.
No.
You probably didn't.
That's life.
I would say with a good deal of certainty that you didn't turn it off.
Brian, that's life around here.
Yeah, I'm well aware. I do the show with Dave, too.
Say,
Hear all sorts of things in the background.
did I do that? You know,
Yeah, you did do that.
or I thought I did that, but I didn't.
In there.
I wake up and I see lights on, and I say, I didn't turn those lights on. What's going on?
Maybe the place is haunted.
Could be.
Okay.
It's my brain that's haunted.
Well, I hope not. Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe.
What's up, sickos? This segment's going to be for you, as we are going to get into the AEW Full Gear report. Full Gear presented by DC Comics. Big fan of DC Comics, if you ask me, although they can never touch the best lineup of comic books of all time, and that is the mid-90s Image comic series, Savage Dragon, Young Bloods, and of course Spawn, all coming from that time period. The Max, I believe, too. For my money, that was the best time in comic book history. But hey, a pretty good time now for DC to be presenting this AEW Full Gear show, because they got about 4+, probably closer to 5+ hours worth of whatever it would be. I don't know. They got their money's worth out of promoting this show, that's for sure. We opened up with the Scott. Hey, I got somebody saying Image Comics sucked in the chat here, the YouTube chat. You know what? You suck. How about that? Anyways, Rob Layfield would be disgusted with what he sees in this chat. Image for life. Anyways, Sky Team, speaking of superheroes, Sky Team, which consists of Mascara Dorada, Neon, and Mystico, took on Okada, Takeshita, and Hechicero for the CMLL, let me get this right, CMLL Trios titles. This one began during the Tailgate Brawl once again. I think this is the second pay-per-view in a row where they've done this. I don't think they should do it every time. Maybe, skip one in between. But for the second month in a row, we had Sky Team kind of winning this match as it bled over into the pay-per-view. Okada and Takeshita did a bunch of spots where they didn't get along. Okada hit an inadvertent Rainmaker on Takeshita. Mystico did the La Mystica, and Hechicero tapped out to the Fujiwara armbar portion of the La Mystica. So Sky Team retained the CMLL Trios titles. Good to see, as I look in the chat once again, some people backing me up here. Big fans of Image Comics. But, hey, we'll get back to the Batman-styled action, I guess, as a man who resembles many villains and heroes in DC Comics lore. Darby Allin took on a man who is certainly a villain, and that is Pac. This was supposed to be under professional wrestling rules, which I guess it was. However, one man violated the rules, which we will get to at the finish. Pac gorilla pressed Darby to the floor from the apron at one point. He then pulled off the bandages, which adorned Darby's body after being gorilla pressed off a stage through burning tables at the Blood and Guts show a couple weeks ago. He actually... Boy, I questioned whether I should say this, but I don't know the correct term. He either Native American rubbed him or Indian burned him. I don't want to offend anyone, but Darby has second-degree burns, and Pac rubbed them, much to the dismay of the crowd. Darby locked on the Scorpion Deathlock at one point. Yuta ran down. The ref was distracted. So was Darby. And Pac laid Darby out with his mentor Sting's very own baseball bat, and then got the win. Mina and Tony took on Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir, and the Sisters of Sin, and Willow and Harley, the Babes of Wrath, in a match where the winning team would get to choose the stipulation for their next match in the AEW Women's World Tag Team Title Tournament. So it had a whole lot going on. Supposed to be two people in the ring at a time, but there was people in and out sometimes for no reason, which kind of confused me. It was more like a CMLL match where people are just in and out. Sometimes they come in and get beat up. Sometimes they come in, somebody else gets hit, and they just powder. Megan F5 Mina into the mother's milk of Shafir, but Tony, this time, was able to free her muse from the submission. And then Willow hit a cannonball. Mina dove onto a pile of women on the floor. In the ring, Harley and Tony traded pinfall attempts until Harley was locked in a small package by Tony and picked up the win. Per the stipulation, the Timeless Love Bombs will, of course, get to choose what goes on in their next round tournament matchup, which is against Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. We had a match for the AEW Tag Team Championships, the Men's Tag Team Championships. This was FTR taking on Brodito. This match was fantastic. Each team broke out all their big moves. Brody got hit with a spike pile driver on the apron. FTR hit a spike pile driver on Bandito, but only got a 2 count. The other sickos, some of them listening right now, some of them were only in the crowd that night, were losing their minds at the action between these two teams. if they had minds to begin with. FTR hit the Shatter Machine, and they won the match to become the AEW Tag Team Champions for the third time. This may have been the best match on the show, although, once again, I think it depends what you enjoy. I liked almost all the wrestling I saw on this show. Ricochet is your newly minted AEW National Champion, the first one in history, the inaugural, as he won the title by hitting the Spirit Gun on Kevin Knight and pinning him. Story of the match was kind of like Ricochet getting beaten up by the entire field. After winning the qualifying matches this past week on Dynamite, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley were number 1 and number 2, and they wrestled each other before Ricochet came out, and he distracted them long enough that the Gates of Agony attacked from behind and kind of took them out for the remainder of the match. But then all the Death Riders came in, and they beat up Ricochet. We had members of the Conglomeration. We had Jet Speed in there filling out the remainder of the field. And like I said, Ricochet gets the pin after the Spirit Gun and walks away. Your new national champion, where he has vowed, or I guess Tony Khan has vowed, that he will defend that title in AEW, CMLL, New Japan, across the globe, maybe in Rev Pro, maybe in the Independents. Who knows? Maybe it'll be on Planet Neptune. We'll find out. Probably just AEW. We then had Mox take on Kyle O'Reilly. Another match right up my alley, built around deliberate submissions, brutal strikes. This was like an MMA fight where they included a couple objects, a fork and a chain throughout the match. After failing to match O'Reilly with submissions and strikes early on, Mox went to the floor. Marina gave him a fork. He came in, sliced up O'Reilly's forehead, back, even twisted his nipple. Gave him a titty twister with the fork. O'Reilly fought back. He was able to get a chain from under the ring, brought it into play, but he and Mox both ended up guillotine choking each other with the chain before a suplex led to both of them doubling down. Mox tried to choke O'Reilly with an STF with the chain, but O'Reilly stabbed Mox in the hand with the fork. Mox came back in with a chair, pillmanized O'Reilly's left arm, which I believe is damaged from nerve damage in his neck anyways. Then Mox tried to finish him off, but O'Reilly swept him with a donkey guard sweep right out of Jeff Glover's playbook, went into the ankle lock, sat down on it, wrapped Moxley's ankle with the chain, and with the ropes far away, he was forced once again to submit to Kyle O'Reilly. Seemed to show a little respect after the match, but instead went back and beat him down. We then had Kyle Fletcher defend the AEW TNT title against Mark Briscoe. Sorry, the TNT title. This was no DQ. Last match was slow-paced, hardcore match. This was no DQ, usual plunder, theatrics built around big bumps, wild shots from foreign objects. They used ladders, chairs, tables, thumbtacks. Briscoe took a flip bump through a table off the top rope to the floor. At one point, Fletcher grabbed the screwdriver from Don Callis and was able to stab Briscoe with it repeatedly. He did this multiple times throughout the match. He actually put it through the turnbuckle and tried to brainbuster Briscoe on top of it, but Briscoe fought out. He got stabbed a few more times. Briscoe was able to fight on, countered a brainbuster on the ropes with a razor's edge through a barbed wire table, and then a J driller on top of thumbtacks and got the win. There was also a crazy top rung of a ladder elbow drop from like 20 feet up that Briscoe did to put Fletcher through a table at one point. And this was wild. And Mark Briscoe walks away, one of them boys, as the new TNT champion. Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express took on the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander. Heels got the heat on Jack Perry. Eventually, he got a hot tag. All the action broke down, and it led to Omega hitting Alexander with a one-winged angel on the floor, which took out both of them. Inside the ring, the Bucks caught Jack Perry with a BTE trigger, and they won this match, what was for $1 million for their team. Now, this match was awesome, but it was really a setup for the post-match, and that was the Bucks and Callis being given bags of money, and Don Callis basically saying, hey, the Bucks are in the Callis family. They all go to leave. The rest of the Callis family beats down Omega until the Bucks ran back, cleared the ring, and then shook hands with Jurassic Express, hugged Kenny Omega, and it looks like the Elite has been reunited. We then had Mercedes Moné challenge Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. This would be her 14th title. I think when I look back, this may have been my favorite match on the show. It was a rare wrestling match, one with a wrestling move, a throw, no outside interference, no BS, which really seems like a rarity, and to me is a more than welcomed occasion in today's world of wrestling. I would love to see more clean finishes. It seems like every single show, hey, go ahead and watch Raw tonight. I bet you there'll be a run-in finish. Watch SmackDown on Friday. There'll be some run-in finishes. Hey, if you watch TNA, their championship might change hands on a run-in screwjob finish. NXT, I'm sure it'll happen. It happens across every single promotion, but we didn't get it here in this AEW women's title match. Instead, what we got was awesome in-ring action, which eventually led to Chris Statlander countering Mercedes Moné multiple times, getting out of the statement maker and catching her off guard, coming off the ropes, locked her up into position and delivered the Saturday Night Fever modified pile driver and got the 3 count. There was one more match on this show. That, of course, was the main event between Samoa Joe and Hangman Adam Page in a steel cage for the AEW World title. And we will get to that after the break. Wrestling Observer.
Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Well, we reviewed Smackdown yesterday, Tom, and you don't even get Smackdown. You're very, just, you know how you are.
Fine. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. That's your impression of me?
Yeah, that's my impression of you.
Wow.
So what are we, at least, I hope you at least watch a Smackdown main event.
I watched the entire show.
Okay, because there's a lot of people that still like your review, Tom.
I went on the board, and I saw like 2 people.
Yeah, do you go on Twitter?
Yeah, I do go on Twitter,
You read my emails?
I do go on
the
Twitter.
Text messages? I mean...
Do you go on Twitter? Because if you do,
unfortunately, yes.
You would have seen one of the greatest moments in world history.
In world history, really.
World history. Frank Tate walked away the victor of the fight, but he walked away an even bigger winner when it comes to life. This man completed what I would say is the best high five, the best dap up in the history of the galaxy. This man had his dog. And when I say dog,
barely a dog.
I mean D-O-G and D-A-W-G. This was a dog, baby. The dog was so proud. You can see just the elation in that dog's face. He threw that paw up. He let it hang for a few moments, and then he brought it down for the dap.
Tom's not even doing this justice. Everyone has seen a dog,
Listen.
like you put your hand out and the dog like puts his paw up to shake hands. This freaking dog goes, ah, hapa! Like, what? That was more than a high five. I don't even know what you would even term that. He dunked. He dunked that man.
30 million views on this clip. And that is about 1/10 of what it should have. So if you haven't seen it, you deserve it. Treat yourself. Go to my Twitter. Watch Frank Tate high-five his dog.
No, he did not high-five his dog.
The dog high-fived
His dog
him.
high-fived him. Yes. He just wanted like a, just boom. And this dog was like, no way, brother. You knock that man out. I'm going to give you a big-time dunking high-five from way up high. You go high-five, up high, down low, too slow. This was an up high. Guy should have pulled his hand away.
It's the best thing you've ever seen.
Man, too slow, Joe. Yeah, it was pretty good. Not going to lie. I liked it.
We are back here on Wrestling Observer Live for the final segment of the show, presented in my image, the Top Cow production in Highbrow Entertainment, Wrestling Observer Live. We had the main event of AEW Full Gear presented by DC Comics for the world title in a steel cage. Samoa Joe taking on Hangman Adam Page. Both men bleeding early. The Ops ran down, more notably Shibata. He grabbed the AEW title, started scaling the cage until Eddie Kingston ran down, fought him to the back. Paul Turner got squished. Referee Paul Turner got squished in the confusion. Hangman hit a dead eye for a visual 7 count. Hobbs, in his powerhouse ways, walked to the ring, ripped the chain off the cage with his bare hands, got low blowed by Page. Samoa Joe locked on the Coquina clutch. Hangman ran him headfirst into the buckle, hit a buckshot lariat. Paul Turner was still down. Hook ran down. He grabbed the AEW title. And against what we thought was in his constitution, he turned on the Hangman. He leveled him with the AEW title, took off his jacket, revealed an Ops shirt. Joe quickly hit the Hangman with a muscle buster on the title and pinned him to become the new AEW World Champion. They all celebrated until we had a big return. Whose house was it? It was Swerve Strickland's house as he ran down, cleared the ring of the Ops in their dojo, and he and a bloodied and disheveled Hangman stood tall at the end of the show, much like I am standing here tall as this show ends, also bloodied, also disheveled. But, like the Hangman and Swerve, we will be back tomorrow to do more work. Wrestling Observer Live, coming at you.